finally figured out the combination of stuff that I need to do. Oh, what a feeling! And now I can't see him. This is great. Um,
Could some so Josh, do you hear me?
I hear you. Guests, do you hear my guest? Okay. Louder, please. Oh my God, with
Okay,
pleasure.
I will shout.
Is this better? By the way, Trappa, just out of curiosity, you're learning both data structures and like in Java context and TypeScript at the same time. That's fascinating. How's that going for you? Anyway, I gotta go in like 20 minutes, so let's hop into things. So, Mateus, you work on, among many other things, such as contributing to TypeScript and Emotion and your actual job at XState, pardon me, at Stately. You work on Changesets, which is a way to manage your versioning and changelogs with a focus on monorepos. But from what I understand, first of all, this does actually support single package repos, right?
Yeah, it supports them. Like they're simpler. So yeah.
Cool. Because I think I looked at it and originally was turned away because I am not a monorepo. So yeah, do you want to give us
Mhm.
like a quick spiel on what this package is and why you like it?
Um, yeah, so Changesets is just a CLI tool and some automation around it that allow you to write like partial changelog entries, and we call those change sets, and each one lives in a separate file, which is just a markdown. Um, and thanks to that, like you can document your changes alongside the PRs, which is, from my point of view, it's quite nice because that becomes part of the review process because it is embedded in an actual file, so you can comment on it, you can tweak it, even if you like end up merging the PR and then you want to revert or you want to just change it or whatever, you can still do it as long as it's before like the actual release, because it's not based on Git commits.
Mm.
So that's like different from a lot of other solutions like that. Like I'm not super familiar with others, but I was always just turned off from solutions like semantic versioning and stuff like that. Uh, in general, I don't like them as much, and like tagging each commit and stuff. Uh, but I don't mind them. But I find in general um, that if people generate their change logs from commits, they are not really that approachable for the reader.
Mm.
So because like we as developers often tend to just be very sparse when describing changes, or we go into like technical details and stuff like that in commits, whereas like changelog is just a different beast, and its purpose is different. You are not meant to document what you did in your change. Like technically, you are supposed to describe it from the user perspective, and those are just not the same, at least for me. So this is just like a CLI tool that allows you to like generate those files, which you can totally like write, like handwrite, because it's just Markdown, so there's not a lot of special things around it. But you have a helpful CLI to like select packages that changed and stuff like that, to like select version pumps, because you can describe, that like you can specify what kind of the change that is. And later on, when you want to run a actual release, you run change set version command, and it just gathers all of those change set files that you have prepared
Mm.
before. But again, like you do that as part of the PR and all, so that's also nice because you don't have to like recreate it later on just before the release, but it's like a continuous process, because yeah, you are like ideally you are supposed to always add the change sets alongside the PR, like in the PR itself, and you are also not limited to creating like a single change set per PR. If you have done multiple things that are unrelated in that PR, you are free to like describe them separately, and each one of them will become like a bullet point, in the generated changelog. In the same vein, you could describe the same change from different perspectives. If you are thinking about the monorepo, because like it might be a different kind of a change for like some kind of like low level package that contains some utilities and not a lot beyond that. But that might allow you to introduce some higher level feature. So it actually makes sense to create at times to create different change sets in a PR, which I think is something that a lot of people like miss when they work with it. And yeah, so like at the release point, you call change set version. It gathers all of those change set files. It removes them and just transforms them into package JSON updates and changelog MD updates. And that's not a release yet, because to do the actual release, you need to call changeset publish, or you might invoke pnpm release or whatever you want, because our tool don't really do a lot of custom stuff in its publish method or command. Um, so you can like just use something else, but it auto tags things and stuff like that. So it automates some minor things, but overall it's kind of like a proxy to npm publish or whatever else you're using there, with just a little bit of craft on top of that. Um, and people are actually using other tools to publish, so that's fine. But the point, like, why they are different commands, you might ask, because because change that version, uh, like you can inspect that. That's a nice thing. You can actually like review what is happening here, like what got removed and all, and what got updated. But that's a little bit of a downside of change sets. Like, remember, the source of truth is the file system here. So we have committed those files beforehand. So now, like, for pragmatic reasons, we need to remove them. So you need an extra commit kinda that removes them, and changed version, I think, automatically commits them, or maybe not, because we also have like a GitHub action that just ran that for you on every commit landed on your base branch, and creates a PR, that versioning PR, um, which contains everything like updated, and you are free to just merge it to your main branch at any time. And it just gets auto updated each time you push anything new to your main branch. So if you add new change sets there, then the bot or the action just force pushes to that branch. So it keeps it auto synced with your base. And then you can just land it whenever you want. And that triggers the actual release, which is nice because you like uh, I've released like multiple times, dozens of times from my mobile, because I was able to just like land a PR by somebody else that contained the change set. I knew it because I didn't land their PR without the review, but still, like, for simpler changes and all, I can do that from a PR, right? So I landed their PR from a mobile that landed on the main branch, triggered the action, pushed out a new version of that version package's PR, and I was able to just click a button there, a standard button, which is kind of nice because we kind of like piggyback on the GitHub UI in a way. So you need to, just merge that PR or squash it or whatever, and everything stays in GitHub. Which is nice because you don't need to learn anything new really to use it. It has some downsides because we are limited to what like GitHub actually provides there. But other than that, it works pretty cool, I think. And yeah, like a lot of projects are using it, which is always nice to see, really. Like, I didn't create it. I was just very pleased with it, using it in Emotion, and started to contribute, which is just, it seems that's something I tend to do. Um, and yeah, I became a contributor, a maintainer and stuff. But yeah, it was just like this, like it's a niche project in a way. uh, it's not something that is user facing, like a runtime library and all, but it's very nice and pleasing piece of a tool, like tooling, that allows you to achieve what I always kind of was looking for, a better way to do. So it just scratched that itch, and I very much like that whole being able to edit it and it being part of the review process and stuff like that. I think it just like fits nicely for
Cool.
me. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
a lot of
awesome.
people are asking for some kind of like integration with semantic commits and stuff like that. And I don't know, it can be created because like you could totally derive those change sets automatically from your commits if that's like your thing. But at that point you lose its beauty in a way. Like what you are really getting, maybe that whole automation related to like pushing that version PR and stuff like that. But other than that, you just lose its appeal in a way. Like you are not using it
Sure.
in a way that it's intended.
Yeah, I would
Whereas like
say,
maybe it's usually fine to use the same message perhaps, and maybe you are just allowing yourself to tweak them, but you want that base experience to you want that base experience to be automated and stuff like that. So maybe there is some like a hybrid approach to be found here. But in general, like we don't at the moment we don't have any built-in way to derive those change sets from your commits. But that's
got it.
in theory like it's easily scriptable using pre-commit hooks and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to bring up. I'm just posting in the chat. So a few things. One, hi Penguin in a Jar, one of the other maintainers, I believe, on TypeScript Lint. Um, the Yeah, so the tool you're describing is beautiful and I love it. I really like the idea of like having things being integrated to Git. I think it's silly that we don't actually use Git very much in a lot of tooling that's built on it. I also did a quick query on SourceGraph for repos that have a file matching change set slash anything.md. I'm seeing like
Nice.
Remix, Chakra, Astro,
Yeah.
Ian Storm Taylor. I don't know why. I don't remember why I know the name, but like Backstage UPC, Mobx, a lot of great repos using this. Um,
Yeah.
Actually, let me switch it to change set slash readme.md to make it a little more granular. Anyway, I will say though, one of the goals for my little template repo here is that it should be quick start friendly and like good for new people who don't fully understand like Git, GitHub, TypeScript, all that stuff. So adding in the necessity to run CLI commands might be like legitimately better for large scale mono repos and teams that can support that, or at least teams that have more experienced folks. But that is a little bit of added complexity that might not be so good for younger in
Yeah.
experienced
So
folks.
yeah, there is definitely like some kind of a curve here, which we try to lower for like people who learn that. But yeah, so what you need to actually like use it, you need change the directory and CLI installed, which is kind of given, like you can do that in your template and prepare everything for it. You need ideally the action, change that action in your workflows that that you can also like prepare beforehand, and it becomes part of your template. Mm, One thing that you can do is to provide like npm tokens for them, or because you need to configure your secrets right in the settings of your repository. But like nothing bad will happen if they don't do it. They will just try to like publish something that the CI won't be able to publish because it won't have the token. So they will like then they can like learn, right? Even if they didn't like look through all of the tooling beforehand to like learn it up front, I expect them to learn it at this stage, that they need to configure the token, right? Because the action will just throw that the token is missing or something. Um, we have a bot, but that you can't really easily like install for people, right? Because we have a bot that posts a comment in a PR, like in all PRs, and checks if that PR comes with a change set, and it warns you if it doesn't. It links you to like some introduction, and it even has a link for a maintainer to create a change set out of this PR. So it even is like pre-populated, so you can click on it, and within the UI itself in GitHub, you can prepare the change. It's pre-populated with changed packages and like probably a patch patch version specified in it, and the the commit sorry the release note kind of like derived from the commit message or from the PR title. I don't recall, but it's yeah,
That's
it's a
really
nice
interesting.
touch.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah, I've been wanting to add more GitHub actions to my flows in general, and specifically for the TypeScript template. I Another good example of where one might be handy would be Prettier. I get a surprising number of PRs from people who just do not run Prettier locally. Like it's set up for you. It's a Git commit hook. It's in the documentation. It's even the like VS Code settings JSON that's checked into the repo says default formatter Prettier recommended extension, and then people still don't do it. So I want a bot that like has a button saying click here to format your code, and it makes a new commit and then tells you to git pull. But that's a side note,
Yeah.
tangent.
At times I forget to run Preter because I prepare a PR from GitHub, and pre-commit won't run for me. But that's like rare. But I don't know. At times, like if it's a one-line change, it happens.
Sure. Do you have is that bot using this repo by the way? It is. Haha. Cool. Oh, you're migrating to GitHub Actions. Look at this. Yay. From Circle CI. I forgot. I used to use Circle CI. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I get on the beauty of it. It is cool that it's file system based, but it's just there's duplication, in the PR title versus the change set. What if you change one and not the other? Is there linting that like if I change the PR title, something will warn me that the change set is now out of sync? I might want to
But
update.
that's in a way it's they are not supposed to be in sync. That because and that is like something that some people might not be able to get passed through. Uh, but like imagine, for example, like the PR title has to be a one line, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who said that your changelog entry has to be one line? You can, it's Markdown. You can have a list there. You can have a code block there. You can have an image there. This
Sure.
is the way to create a like nice user-facing change. Like, of course, it's a lot of work and stuff, but like, if you like, how much better it is to read like a nicely prepared thing that already gives you links to
Mm.
examples, maybe has an inline example that is just like 3 lines of code, something with an image, something with formatting because you can use bold, you can use underlines and stuff like that. You can't do that in a PR title.
That is nice. I'm just setting up ugh, the contents of the file locally in Markdown to
It's
show like yeah,
like the choice of
nice stuff here.
the choice of Markdown there is really like deliberate. That it's
Mm-hmm.
like there are some other tools that do similar thing, which is also kind of mm, very interesting for me. That I know of like three other projects that ended up with a somewhat similar ideas, that they have like huge overlap. Like for example, Rush, a tool by Microsoft, I believe. It's also like some monorepo tooling, opinionated one based on PNPM and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have very similar idea behind change sets and stuff, but they favor machine readability more. So, for example, they keep those like change sets in JSON. But then, if it's in JSON, it's not that obvious for people that you could, for example, use Markdown, right? Even though maybe they like later on transform that to a markdown and stuff, but it's not that natural. Whereas like if the source of truth is markdown, it's more just natural to actually use markdown, to have that formatting and stuff like that.
That's interesting. Do you know, I'm just curious what their storage, the JSON, looks like. Do you know what that file is called in their repo?
In Rush, I'm not sure. Yeah, from the top of my head, I'm not sure. It's no.
Okay,
They
cool.
might also have it in a huge JSON, everything concatenated or something. I'm not sure. Whereas like in Changeset, every change set file is like separate. Yeah.
Cool. Just responding to a couple of things in the chat. Penguin Jar mentions we'd love to do this for TypeScript ESLint, but like there is more work in setting this up. When you say one liner, by the way, what I normally do is I'll have pull requests. Let's see. Let's find one from me. I gotta look at all these. I wish GitHub would just filter out dependency PRs by default, or like have a toggle or something. Like there's really no need for it. Oh, here's a good one. Like I'll have the first line, like the title line, which should be, in my opinion, generally one line as the title, and then what I really want is underneath the overview to be the description added in the PR, which I don't even think my repo does. Just that's a pipe dream of mine. But also a shout out from NowETR to their ESLint config. I'm always down to look at an ESLint. Let's look at the Rush one. The Rush stack. Ooh, look at this. They have like a whole ESLint config readme. If you install Refine GitHub, it will gray out bot PRs and shrink them a bit. Oh my god. I used to have it installed, then it had a bunch of bugs, so I uninstalled it. But yeah, from what I understand, this repo, they went through like a feature freeze. Are they still in that? Nice, they removed it from the readme, so there we go. Thanks for the bump, I forgot about this thing. Anyway, I must go in like -1 minutes, so I guess we're not doing much coding today. Thanks for dealing with me. Is there anything else in the last couple of minutes you wanna spew to the world or plug or anything?
I don't think so. Be kind.
Be kind. Yes.
To maintainers, especially.
True maintain. I think both the phrase "be kind to maintainers" and "be kind to maintainers," especially, both of those are good and valid. Cool. Yeah. So just to recap, Changesets looks awesome, by the way. I feel like I've been in repos that work with it. Maybe one of yours.
Yeah, probably.
Cool. So you have files like .changesets / I love these auto-generated names. Brown jokes.
Yeah, there's like a human ID package, I think, something like that we use, and some people want to put a date there or something. But I love those auto-generated names. I don't know, like why somebody would like to use anything different. And that's also like because even if the problem with like dates, for example, is that they come from PRs, so you wouldn't really have them like sorted. It would just be an illusion, because they would come like, the date would be based not on the merge date, but based on the creation date. And that's not really that helpful. Like it's still random, so whatever. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, awesome. So in each PR, you create a .changeset/.md file with this fun little human readable ID, and then when the release happens, it deletes these files. Let me see if I have the. I'll get an example one up. Here we go. Deletes them and then shoves them into the changelog, which is really nice, and does automatic version bumps for you and stuff. I personally, my plan for this is to file an issue linking to the V3 umbrella one, asking can we have a default to using the PR details, because yeah, this is really cool, but more than I would want to add.
Yeah, but then there is also a question: how do you automate that, right? Because like you don't write the PR description at the same time when it's created, so you would have to like, I don't know, have a bot that like auto syncs that and pushes commits to your branch, which is also kind of weird, and probably a lot of people wouldn't like that.
Git history, and then like trim down the PR body using a config.
And also like like that's still like I reiterating over what I said, kinda like in the PR, often I want to learn about details as a reviewer, like what makes, like, how did you implement it? And you might go describe to, like, what you have tried, what made it hard, what made it simple, what like solution way to implement that didn't pan out, and what you ended up with. But like that's not useful for the reader. And how do you make it automatic? Like, sure, maybe there could be some convention to, have some kind of magic delimiters and all, but then complexity of the tool and all like raises, and it's not worth it, I guess. It's simple this way.
Yeah. Well, I gotta go. But I would love to continue this discussion with you on GitHub. This sounds really cool. So thank you again for hopping on my stream. I'm gonna post your Twitter and Arist Rake. Where did that come from, by the way? I forget. You told me this before in the chat. Did you freeze? Oh, well, I gotta go. Thanks. Bye.